NHL best bets for Thursday, December 18th. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. We've got sides, totals, props, team totals, thoughts from myself, Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco, and the Prez back with us today on the show. Looking forward to a good one. We had a quieter day on Wednesday, but a much busier day on Thursday. I am not happy coming into today. I pretty much am taking the day off of NHL plays because I need to heat up again. After I had a good run, I cooled way off again. So I just have an NFL play up, but I'm going to talk it out with the boys, see what they think about today's slate, and I'll do what they call paper trading and just kind of see how I'm feeling for today's slate. Carm, good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. Been a long, early day for me already, man. I've been up doing a ton of work, dropped my wife off at work. I barely slowed down when I let her out of the vehicle. So that was the good thing because I had to get back to the office and get some stuff done. But it's the return of the Prez today. He is going to, I mix things up on him. We always love having the Prez on to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I threw the Columbus, Minnesota game at him instead because we already know he likes the under likely in the Toronto and Washington game. Who knows? But with that said, he's going to do that one. Andrew and I are going to break down Edmonton and Boston, Pittsburgh and Ottawa. A couple really weird lines, and we'll discuss those ones as well too. Same game parlay if Andrew has one. If he doesn't, we will go to the pod play and look to see if we can hit another pod winner. But thank you to everyone in the who's there in the chat watching today's show. Hit that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It is a Thursday, and we need to get going. Let's bring in the Prez. Back from what can only be described as a fantastic ski vacation. Prez?
Yes, sir. Nice to be here. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. Awesome ski trip. But now we're going into trip season. I'm off to Florida beginning of January for a couple of weeks, actually. Going to go down, stay with my parents, and play at the Seminole. There's a whole WPT series going down. So what is that? Kill two birds with one stone situation.
Yes, as a bird owner, I'd rather use a different terminology, like hit two jackpots with one coin. I don't know, something like that. Hit with one ticket. Let's not be beating up and killing birds, if that's okay with you, Prez.
Andrew,
that's like one of my girlfriend's closest friends is like a diehard. Like she owns several horses. I was like, I'm just so hungry. I could eat a horse right now. She just looks at me. She's obsessed with horses. I'm just like, my bad. Wrong place, wrong time to use that. Can't.
Let me ask you a question. You guys have you guys ever eaten horse? Seriously,
No.
Serious question.
No.
Growing up as a kid, and Italians will tell you this, growing up as kids, if we were sick, our parents went to the Italian meat market and got horse cutlets. They actually had horse cutlets because they're high in iron. And it was supposed to help us out. So when I say I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, I have eaten a horse. I wish I'd eaten some of the ones I've bet on in my life that have lost me just tons and tons of money. But
you remember this? You remember when people used to say, I'm so hungry I could eat a cat?
No.
Oh, what was the other term for a cat? Can't remember.
I know where you're going there. What is wrong with your beard?
A lot. Hey, Hank. Good morning, boys. Prez on Hockey Show again. I love it. Okay.
All right. Talk to us about Columbus and the suddenly Minnesota Wild with
Quinn Hughes. Yeah, interesting trade. I guess they thought, we'll take Quinn Hughes as a rental player for a little while because he ain't staying in Minnesota, Carm. That you can take to the bank. Look, I love that I'm doing this game, and I'm going to stick to the strategy. Every time I come on here, I tell you guys to bet the under and whatever game is thrown at me. And this is one of those, bring it on. This is the Minnesota Wild. We had a 4% play on the Minnesota Wild under against Washington on Tuesday. Me and my clients cashed that one. It was $5 Tuesday. Ton of you guys purchased that play. And well, it went under. 5-0 was the final score. This Minnesota team is playing to the under almost every night. 2-7-1 to the under in their last 10 games. Yeah, they went over against Boston, but they kept Boston down. They've allowed no more than 2 goals in any game in their last 5. 0-2, 2-2-1. And it's not like this team is playing, teams that can't score. Boston, Ottawa, Dallas, Seattle, Edmonton. They shut Edmonton out in Edmonton 1-0. One of 2 losses Edmonton has had in the last few weeks. So this team, from a defensive perspective, is lights out. They're getting buy-in from everybody up and down that lineup. Now they got Quinn Hughes. They got to feel really good about themselves. But what this team is an under team. This is a team that wants to play to the under. They're 13-19-2 to the under on the year. Now, I know Columbus is a team that is playing to the over, albeit slightly, 16-15-2 to the over. And they went over in their last game, 4-3 against the Anaheim Ducks. And this team is allowing goals. That's why they're going over so often. They allowed Anaheim 3, Vegas 3, Ottawa 6, Carolina 4. Florida put up 7, Detroit 5. Yeah, horrible defensive unit in Columbus. But that's okay, because Minnesota is not a team that is looking to light it up. Sure, they could put 4 or 5 up, but they're a team that wants to play slow. They want to grind them out, and it matches nicely against a Columbus team that can't play defense. What we do know is Columbus is struggling to score. Yeah, they put up 4 on Anaheim, but this is a team that regularly could put up 2 goals or less. I don't want to overthink this. I want to keep riding the same under with Minnesota until it stops. Now, obviously, there are going to be games along the way that go over. But, hey, give me 2 out of 3 under every time. I'm in. So, yeah, let's not overthink this, Carm. Let's stick with the under.
All right. There you have it, guys. Columbus and Minnesota, courtesy of the Prez. What is that on your hat there? Is that a gorilla? I can't really see it.
Yeah, it says boss, because I came on with the 2 of you.
One quick question on this game, just a follow-up, one of my Teddy follow-ups for you, and you're used to these ones. The question here is, does it, when you look at Minnesota, and they're playing extremely well right now, 5 wins, this is, in essence, what it is it's a non-conference game. It doesn't, they still want the points. They still want the win. They want to keep that streak going. But they got 2 big games on Saturday and Sunday against the Edmonton Oilers and Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. And that's the measuring stick for this Minnesota team. Do you look, Marco used to use that fat and sassy or the sandwich game. Do you look at this game and think maybe Minnesota takes a step backwards in this game, or maybe they're ripe for the picking? That could happen and still stay under the total.
Oh, thank you for explaining that to me, Carm. So Columbus can win and it still stay under, just to clarify.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
5 wins in a row, Carm, with this Minnesota Wild team. Columbus, 5 losses in a row, and then they won in overtime against Anaheim. So if I'm looking at the analytics for Columbus specifically, I'm seeing a team that was outshot a lot in their losing streak. Then they outshot Vegas 30-26, lost that game by 1. Then they took Anaheim to overtime. So I'm seeing a team's rhythm change. So Columbus had a 5-game losing streak. They played really, really well against Vegas. They played well against Anaheim. They're coming out of their funk. So I would say this is a good spot to bet Columbus. Now, as a betting against Minnesota.
Yeah,
man. I mean, they played as perfect a game as you can play against Washington and another monster against Boston. With that said, they did allow 36 against Ottawa, 31 against Minnesota. I think they buckle down defensively.
If
But yeah, I
else,
think that this is the right. So for me, I wouldn't bet Columbus because I can't. It's not the right spot to bet against Minnesota, but it's definitely the right spot to bet on Columbus.
Yeah, and Andrew, both these goalies right now playing phenomenal. Wallstead he's a wall, but Jet Greaves I think has stamped himself as the number one goalie right now in Columbus. Elvis, obviously, the other one being Elvis Merzlikins. It's Jet Greaves' job to lose there. So we'll see what happens tonight. Should be a good one. Regardless. So, Prez, what do you got to promote? Because I know you have a monster weekend coming up in sports.
I actually do. I have a bunch to promote. So, guys, please bear with me. So, last time I came on, I begged you guys to play a play of mine. It won. I'm doing the same today, guys. I got a 4% NHL total today. I'm going for 5 in a row in these plays. I'm also absolutely rolling in totals across the board. I'm on a 17-7 run in them. I'm on a 7-3 run in them in NHL. This is an absolute beast of a play, and I have a great play in the NFL tonight as well. And I'm rolling in the NFL, guys. Like, oh my God, I had a 5-week period where I couldn't get going. Now my NFL, I'm on my total 6-2 and 9-3 run. My actual NFL all bets 13-5, 17-7 run. I've won 7 of my last 9 NFL cards. So I got a big play in NFL tonight. I got a huge must not miss play in NHL. But I have a 5% up for Sunday, Carm, and I got a promo code to give out on the show. It's Prez10, Prez or Z10. You get $10 off of my 5% for Sunday. I won my 5% last Sunday. It was easy. I'm rolling in these big plays. So, I'm really excited about what's going on over the next few days. And of course, college football season is starting.
Keep it going, Prez. Keep it going.
Is it Z or is it Z?
Well, I mean, so it's an interesting question, Carmen. And the bottom line is that it's both. And I'll tell you why it's both. Because the mother and father of the letter, an English person from the England, because it's English, named it Zed. So the actual parental guidance said Zed, which means it's actually Zed. However, Americans are always right on everything, no matter what. So it's clearly Z. So,
wait,
yeah.
I didn't know anywhere else existed in the world besides America.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there other countries? Am I allowed to say that?
There are not. Metric does not exist. So it is clearly both Z and Z, because the mother and father named it Zed, but Americans are never wrong.
You know what? I'm going to go with it's Z instead of Zed, because
the Americans are never wrong.
I would never call into a radio station and request a song by the ZZ Top. Right?
Yeah. Well, I would never request a song by Led Zeppelin.
But hey, think about this: when a kid, like a young baby, is learning their ABCs.
Touche, my friend.
Are they saying Zed?
Well, so to me, the way it's like Imperial is a practical joke, right? The older generation in America were like, the whole world is changing to tens, 10, 100, 1,000. That seems so easy. Let's not do that. And let's stick to, I don't know what. And then the next generation will, be stuck with, I don't know where, how, or who, why. And so they played that practical joke. Then they thought to themselves, well, the phone has been recently invented. Let's see if we could rhyme another letter with E. so that when we explain zebra, we say Z, because, Z and E and G and on and on and on. There's We need another rhyming letter with E. So that's
The
how
problem is, Prez, there's probably a lot of people listening to this right now that didn't even know what Z was. So
yes.
I guess we've touched on it for a little bit too
Andrew,
long.
nor metric.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Prez.
those are the ABZs of the show. Prez,
what happened
get out of here,
there,
man.
guys? We went off the rails. I'm glad to be back.
No, it's good to have you back, man. And we will have you on some further shows when you're not playing poker.
Hater. This guy gets, of course, so bad when this guy is on. I didn't start any of this.
Prez, go back to bed, man.
All right.
Carmine asked me that question, and I answered it like a good guest.
Listen. You traveled late last night. You look a little tired. Go to bed and get some Zeds, okay?
Zeds are coming my way, brother. Lots of love, everybody.
Andrew, get rid of this guy. There we go.
All right, Carm, let me do some bitching now. Let me do some bitching. It's only healthy that I get to do some bitching.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not happy to lose a big play yesterday. And, I wouldn't say, like, I am still an eye test handicapper overall, situationally as well. But I would be lying if I didn't say I've implemented some analytics to my handicapping. And I know you like the analytics as well. And I know me and you were head-to-head on this play, Carm, so you were exactly right with your handicap. But I want to ask you this, and be completely honest with me. Should this make me feel better or not? Because part of me is like, well, my whole analysis talked about how much there actually would be action in this game despite the injuries, despite all the stuff going on with both of these teams. The game was 1-1 going into a shootout.
Yeah.
Jake Allen and Carter Hart, they looked like Olympians. These guys looked like some of the best goaltenders the world has ever seen last night. And I had over 5.5. Look at the XG for Vegas.
I get it. I get it. And I know different sites calculate it a little differently, but it's still very close. And if you go to Natural Stat Trick and you click on last night's game between the Devils and the Knights, like I did this morning, because I always like to review even my pod plays and see if I had if it went the way I thought it would go. And I look at it, and the expected goals are 4.92 to 3.63.
Wow, even higher.
So it's even higher than the numbers there. As far as like the calculation goes. And listen, I know there's guys in the chat that are always going to say expected goals. I don't care whether they're good or bad, and they don't put it as part of their handicap. But then I'll see like the same person say to me a little later on, I like this team because they've won 13 of the last 14 times they've played against each other. You're now using a trend of two teams over the last 5 years where some of these players aren't even in the lineup for these teams anymore as your focus of making that a play. Current analytics as opposed to long-term trends of teams and when they've met up 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I will take the current analytics long before I take the trends part. Trends are great for talking about it. For talking about it at a bar with your friends, and it's kind of like what I mentioned. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've won 26 straight Monday Night Football games. So does that mean that on Monday night you're going to go out and bet the Pittsburgh Steelers if they're playing a team that's much better than them? Probably not. But because that's 26, you know how far back you have to go to come up with a number of 26 straight Monday night wins. But listen,
it's one of those things where like I sort of feel better because I see the numbers and I'm like, okay, a lot of my analysis was right. But I'm almost like starting to get tired of this. Like I almost want to next time, like what Steve said here, like. Steve, like I'm right. Like Steve's right. Like it lost. A lot of people hopped on the play. I lost a play for people, and it's only one play. I get it, but Carm, like it's so frustrating because at least if this game had XG of like 2.3 to 1.8, I could be like, all right, dude, you were wrong. Like that was a bad handicap, So now I'm just caught in a hard place where I'm kind of like, well, what do I think? Like, was it a bad handicap, or was it just like if they played this game 10 times, how many times does this game go over the total? Like, I saw so many huge saves. Anyway, that's my venting session done for you. But
listen,
it's just tough. It's tough to understand kind of how I should feel, because do I want to be happy with the XG like that, or should I be? I don't know how I should feel really.
I'm the old man that yells at the clouds pretty much 4 days a week on the 5 shows that we do. It is, and it's going to happen. You know what I mean? I wanted to vent at the top of the show. I went 1-1 in the NHL last night. I had an underdog winner with Utah against Detroit, and I had the over 5.5 in the LA Kings Florida game. That game with 15 minutes left is 3-2, and I'm just, it's just one goal.
Need one more goal.
Yeah. An empty net, one goal, right? And you get 15 minutes of Zippo, nothing. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me, right? But it is why it's kind of like what I think Nebraska Knows said in the chat. It is why we bet the games. Sometimes you are on the right end of the wrong result, and sometimes you're on the wrong end of the right result. So it is just... It is just, you are the young man yelling at the clouds.
But my question, Perlo, if you're still there, Perlo, my question for you is, like, if it was a dead spot, though, then I would rather the XG not be 4.71. Because how is it a dead spot for Vegas if they created a million chances and Jake Allen played like Patrick Waugh? That's what the most frustrating part is. So
the hammer and nail strikes again. It does. With that said, who is the hammer and who is the nail tonight? As the Edmonton Oilers -142, Boston +117. The total sits here at 6.5. And Andrew, I'm going to say this. You know what I mean? Like, I expect at some point the regression, some kind of regression to set in for these Boston Bruins, but they were winning games. You got to give them credit. Even with the players that were moved in the offseason, and the team is just playing good. They're just playing some good hockey. And I don't get the line. I figured it would be a lot lower than 142 on Edmonton, because the Oilers are, to me, are right now an inconsistent team on the road. They can go into Toronto and beat the Leafs, and the Leafs have the number one home record in the Eastern Conference. So they can go into Toronto and win a game 6-3. And then they go to Montreal and they lose a game 4-1. And to me, it's just forget about even trying to mention back-to-backs for Edmonton, because Montreal was on a back-to-back as well, too, having played against, I think, the Rangers or the Islanders, one of those New York teams the night before as well, too. Inconsistent. And they're -142 here. Make this make sense. And somebody in the chat, make it make sense. Who do you like in this game?
I don't know why, but I always love when I hear that. Make this make sense. Make this make sense. It's like just trying to figure out what the hell is the deal here with this game. Carm, my question, I guess I'm going to answer your question with a question, because I'm going to ask this. Like, are the Oilers sort of back? Like, is this team a little bit back on track? And are they playing better hockey, or are they getting favorable spots? Did they take advantage of a Leafs team that was still struggling, a Red Wings team that maybe was due for regression? I don't know, but this team, besides that game against my Canadians, they've looked pretty darn good. The only thing is, when I look at this Boston Bruins team, a lot of their numbers indicate that they've relied on goaltending and they've relied on extra defensive play. The thing is with them is that I don't know if their depth goaltending or their depth scoring can be sustained. I'm looking at Daily Faceoff right now. We got guys in the chat right now talking about Morgan Geekie, Lindholm, Pasternak, of course, is great. Nice to have Casey Middlestat back for this team. But when I look at Mikhail Ysimont, when we look at Sean Corrali, Mark Kastelik, Tanner Jeannot, Fraser Minton, these guys, I'm sorry, they're not bringing it offensively enough. Like, I don't trust it on a large picture. So I feel like that's kind of the issue I have with this one. for the Boston Bruins is that right now you've got an Oilers team that's feeling themselves, that's feeling pretty good about themselves. And I just look at this matchup here and I'm thinking, all right, we got two teams that have both won, 4 of their last 5 games. And this might be a spot here where I want to trust the Oilers to keep it going. I like them here, Carm. I think it's a good spot for them. As I always say, when the Oilers win, they typically do score 4 goals. You know I love the team totals. They haven't been as great for me lately, but you look at their win against the Jets, they scored 6. Their win against the Penguins, they scored 6. Their win against the Maple Leafs, they scored 6. Their win against the Red Wings, they scored 4. This team, when they win, they typically get to that magic team total number. So when you look at this Oilers team, was anybody ever worried about them, missing the playoffs or not getting it together? I don't think I was worried about them not getting it together. I'm more interested in how you feel about the Bruins than how you feel about the Oilers, because this is a team that I was doing a podcast last night. We were talking about the division odds. Like, Bruins are still 30-1 to win the division, and they're doing pretty well, but can it be sustained? Red Wings are 13-1 to win the division. And kind of looking at this matchup here, I just think the Oilers are a bit superior to this Boston Bruins team. And you always get a better price when you bet on the Oilers because their team total. They only win when they score 4 goals. And sometimes they even lose when they score 4. I'll never forget last year in the playoffs, Carm. I had a couple plays, not even just one time, where I faded. I bet it on the Oilers team total, and they lost the game. But it was like 5-4 for the other team. So I still hit that.
Andrew, the odd thing about this game, or even like the Bruins, is you look at the season the Bruins are having, and I think it's a good season that they're having. They're 20-14. They haven't lost a game in overtime. They're 6-0 in overtime. So if the game goes to overtime tonight, you might want to just click on that button and bet the Bruins in overtime. They're 6 points out of first place. But it just shows you about the Eastern Conference. They're 8 points out of last place. 32 points, the Buffalo Sabres in 16th place. And the Sabres are 7 points out of a playoff spot. Carolina's kind of starting to run away with this. New York Islanders are keeping them close. The Red Wings are doing the best they can, although I had a feeling they weren't going to show up last night. They didn't against Utah. But there's teams in there, Detroit and Philadelphia, that are 3rd and 4th. I don't expect to be 3rd or 4th come the end of the season. I think the Flyers eventually miss the playoffs. I think Detroit is going to be one of those 7th or 8th place teams. But the teams on the outside looking in, Florida, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Ottawa Senators, and the New York Rangers, 4 teams that were expected to be battling for a playoff spot are battling for a wild card spot right now. The Eastern Conference is so inconsistent this year, or you can call it parity, that we just don't know if teams are having good seasons or not because they're so closely bunched. You can make a case for the team that's in 14th being just as good as the team that's in 2nd place. You can. It's just a weird season, and that's what makes this tough, because you look at it, and without looking at the standings, you would think, okay, the Edmonton Oilers, the team that's played in the last 2 Stanley Cup Finals, a team with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, they got a lot of, they pick up a new goalie in Tristan Jarry. We'll see if that works out for them, that they should be able to beat up on this Bruins team. But I'm not laying at $1.42 to try and find out in this one, Andrew. I tend to think we're going to see some goals in this game, especially after a flat night in the NHL. The NHL is like ebbs and flows with goals. One night it's completely dead. The next night you see goals by the bucketful. Might be a good grand salami night. Speaking of Italian foods, we'll take the over 6.5 and dine on some salami tonight.
I love the grand salami, man. I can't believe every, prop bettors got destroyed yesterday because everybody loves betting overs, and every single game going under doesn't really help the case to that.
Andrew, for my friend Rex, he's like, hold my tongue about the Flyers falling, and we'll see how I feel tomorrow. One day in the NHL is not going to make me feel any differently about a viewpoint. I can't change a viewpoint on a team on a daily basis. it is going to remain like that until I see, or until they disprove me otherwise. I just think that the Flyers are playing above their heads right now under Rick Tocchet. It just, we'll see how sustainable that is. Vidar's got to be great, but this goaltending duel hasn't gone through the grind of an 82 game season where Vladar is the number one guy and Urson's the number two guy. So we'll see when we hit, like kind of like those dog days of summer in baseball. We'll see when we hit the 60 game mark where teams are with their goaltending. So that's my point, Andrew. A bit of a tangent there, but I wanted to let Rex know it doesn't matter to me whether the Sabres lose 18-1 or 5-2 tonight. And I'll describe the 5-2 later on in the show. But any more thoughts on this game before we move to the next one?
Well, I just think that, one thing overall, Carm, that I want to do better of is catching teams on streaks. You've talked about it a lot. You do a good job of it. And, even I used to talk about this with Andy Lang when it comes to betting on player props, was if somebody makes you money in the NFL or in the NHL or in the NBA, it's okay to bet on that guy or player, team multiple times. And so I think that when I look at this right now, like I look at this Oilers team and I see them finding their offense. I see them turning it around. And Carm, I don't want to sound like what do they call it, the Monday morning quarterback, but I kind of feel like maybe I'm on the Tristan Jarry bandwagon all of a sudden, because people were saying it, and including me, are like, oh, well, what kind of a difference is that? But like at the end of the day, a lot of media members said this too, and like they needed to make a change. And it was kind of sad. Like, did you see that picture going around of I think Leon Draisaitl got like his 1,000th point, and so all the players go off the bench and they're celebrating. And they're celebrating next to Stuart Skinner. So all of the pictures of them celebrating is right. Like, that is just sad, man. And then they're like saying goodbye to him after the game. Like, that's sad. But I'm believing in this Oilers team right now. Like, the Oilers are such an emotional team. Let's be honest. Like, they're either one way or the other. And right now they are this way. They're scoring goals. Their offense is there. And it's funny. I saw some people's projections, and not many, but I saw one or two where some people actually want Zach Hyman on the Olympic team. And now I thought, because of his injuries and the shorter sample size this year, I didn't know if he had a spot on the team, but maybe he does. So I'm very curious, but maybe Zach Hyman is underrated on this team. People called him a tap-in merchant last year, Carm. Oh, all his goals are tap-ins. Well, yeah, he still scored them. Right?
Yeah, I could use a lot of those tap-ins sometimes at night, and they're not coming. And I'm like, what is going on here? But it's just, listen, we do this show daily, guys. Monday to Fridays, we talk about these ones. We do segments, the 6 and 60. The parody makes it so tough because you have to rely on analytics, and sometimes you have to look at trends. You have to look at goaltending and favorable matchups. But Andrew, at the end of the day, sometimes it really feels like if you don't do that, you're not giving yourself an honest chance to win. And it's a disservice to your clients as well, too. You have to do the homework in order to try and get out the best play possible. But I almost equate it to sometimes if you don't do that homework, it's like, going to the grocery store and you're going through the tomatoes and it's like, no, this one's no good. This one's no good. You're just pushing them aside and you find a good tomato and it's like, all right, I put some work into that one. Let's go home and make ourselves a nice sandwich or what have you. But listen, it is tough. The Eastern Conference has been completely unpredictable this season, and you can see it in the standings. You can see it how close it is from top to bottom. And again, there's the one outlier is, Carolina, who has 46 points and they're sort of running away from it. But you look at the second place team, which I think it's the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders at 41. And then you have the bottom of the league, bottom of the division, the Sabres on a 3-game winning streak with 32 points. It just tells you that a 3 to 4 game win streak just shakes up, or a losing streak shakes up the standings. So I think the Western Conference is a lot, has gotten a little easier to predict. I think there's a big separation between who are the good teams and who are the bad teams. And on most nights, the good ones are winning unless it's a bad scheduling spot for them. With that said, Andrew, let's talk another Eastern Conference tomato picking game. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Ottawa Senators. And I picked this game to discuss, guys, because I look at this line, $1.71. Ottawa -171, Pittsburgh +140, 6.5. This is another one of those make this make sense to me. Andrew?
Well, Carm, I think that we've seen this Penguins team just fall off an absolute cliff. I wish we had a chart to bring it up, but like we can just run through it. Like 6 goals allowed against the Oilers, 5 against the Mammoths, 6 to the Sharks, 4 to the Habs, 4 to the Ducks. Like this team is both defensively and just depth-wise struggling right now. Like I saw somebody on Twitter saying that Crosby hasn't been doing enough lately. Are you kidding me? Like without Crosby, where is this team even this season? He was like 40 years old, leading the league in goals at one point. I think that we might have to start changing our benchmark, Carm, from American Thanksgiving to Christmas time for when we start to find out who a team truly is. I think we know who the Penguins truly are at this point. We do. And yeah, Steve, with this comment here, Sen 7-3 versus Pittsburgh, who won the last meeting convincingly. You know, when you look at this, though, Carm, and that number, and you say make it make sense, it kind of does make you think like, okay, 175, the books are confident here with Ottawa. And I was on a podcast last night, and I said that I think that Ottawa is the most underrated Canadian team and maybe one of the most underrated teams in the whole league. If you put this Ottawa lineup in Toronto Maple Leaf jerseys, Montreal Canadian jerseys, Vancouver Canuck jerseys even, are people not talking about this team more? Like, is Ottawa the team in Canada that's like the ugly stepsister that nobody cares about? Am I allowed to say that? It seems like it's like that part of Canada.
Too late, you said it.
That it's like that team in Canada doesn't get that credit, you know? So I just think that, and you know, as much as we could try and make a case for like the Penguins are going to be desperate, they're going to be in need to get back on track. You know, they're a team that's been playing some pretty good hockey. The only thing I would say is this is the first game back they'll play at home. So maybe it's an interesting road spot. I just can't look at anything else besides overs when it comes to spots right now for the Ottawa Senators. This is going to be a big, big game here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if they even help in the slightest to get this over the total, I think over 5.5 is the play, Carm. I do. And remember what you said. Maybe this is the grand salami night. This could be the grand salami night. But I think that we see goals in this one. And it almost makes me feel better, the fact that the Senators just played the Jets and the Wild, 2 notorious under teams. I feel like the Senators have it in them to play a little bit more of an over game. Now, keep in mind, Allmark has been a pretty sharp goalie with his rebound control and, you know, his save percentage lately, but I still like some overs here. Yeah, the Rich, don't cancel it. Yeah.
No, we're not canceling Andrew. No, we're not canceling Andrew. Not that I know of. Is there like something leaked by the APP or whatever? Andrew, you know, I just can't lay $1.71 in this one, mainly because off a couple of those embarrassing losses for Pittsburgh, where they just blew a gasket in the third periods against what was it, San Jose and I think Utah, allowing like 4 goals in the third period twice. Sometimes in order to play better defense, sometimes you hit the road and you play some better D, and that's what they're doing. A trip to Ottawa, a trip to Montreal. I got a question for the Pittsburgh organization. why would you schedule a dad's trip to go to Ottawa and Montreal? No disrespect to those cities, but it is cold as F in Ottawa and Montreal. And I get it. There's some nice scenic views in Montreal. You go to Old Port and what have you. But at the beginning of this month, they were in Tampa Bay, and then they played in Dallas. Two warmer climate places. If you're going to do a dad's trip, why wouldn't you take them there? I don't get it. I do not get it. They would never take the moms on a trip to Ottawa and Montreal. But that's just me, Andrew. As far as that goes, this is one of those weird ones where you look at this and you're like, okay, Ottawa is playing well. They can score goals. Pittsburgh's leaking goals. It's an auto over. I'm going to be the contrarian here and say that the Penguins, maybe I make Los Kid when he watches this video eventually, the huge Pittsburgh Penguins fan that he is, maybe I make him happy and say that maybe the Pittsburgh Penguins rediscover how to play defense on the road in this 2-game trip against Ottawa and Montreal. A split for them would be great. Obviously, winning both would be fantastic. Losing both, I think, it just adds to the pain of this team and that regression that's setting in. I'm looking at the under here. I'm just going to be a contrarian in this one. I'm not going to get to the window on it. It is just my lean that the under hits here.
Big shout out to Jonathan. Jonathan Davis joined me on my Every Game on the Board video 2 weeks ago, and Jonathan does great work with VSiN, and he said the dads will be hanging at Chez Paris. Yeah, they probably will be. Not that I've ever been there, Carm, on a bachelor party having a good time. I would never do that. But, if you have been there, it's not a bad place. It's not a bad place to be. And I think the dads, maybe Jonathan, maybe the dads have another place that we don't know about that they'll go to. But that's for another subject. Carm, you're being the contrarian today. I respect it. Looking at the under.
Perlo doesn't like it. He thinks that playing boring defensive hockey for dads isn't a thing, but neither is losing 7-2. That is an even worse thing for the dads, I would think. And I've only been to Ottawa like a handful of times. This is where our government is, our parliament is. I wish I could get farther away from it if I could, but we're not bringing politics into this one because we don't have another 2 hours to discuss this stuff. Andrew, do you have a same game parlay, or should I just go to the pod?
I am going to just let you go to the pod, but I'm going to mention one thing. Drake Batherson over shots on goal in this game. Pittsburgh gives up a ton of shots on goal, especially to his position. You can take over 2.5, or you can take over 3.5 at a really good plus price. He's the one player prop I've looked at so far today. The rest of my player prop thoughts will probably be out later on in the afternoon. But Drake Batherson, and if you guys looked at yesterday, we didn't cash the Sergachev plus 750 goal, but he did get a point for us, and that did cash. So the same game parlay, Carm, what I've been trying to do lately is, give out some plays that people can also single bet. So we haven't been hitting these 10-1s, but we've been hitting some of these, single bets as well. If I go 3 for 4 and people didn't take some of them as single bets, that is what it is. I can't lock in the singles for you.
Yeah, no, Andrew, a friend of mine sends me a ticket that he played last night. I should have just taken a screenshot of it and put it up. And he took my pod play, but then he also added to it the Vegas Golden Knights. And I said to him, I go, so you turned a winning bet into a losing bet by adding one more leg to it, and instead of making it a single play, making it a parlay. And this is, I get it. I'm not telling you guys not to play parlays. I will throw some out there occasionally, but they're for entertainment only. Never put a big part of your bankroll on them. It is tough enough to pick one game right. Picking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is absolutely insane. And I'm going to stick to that thought process, Andrew, moving forward and sort of preaching that. So I'm going to go to the pod play here, and let me get the time ready for the timestamp. We'll mark it down as a 44 50 timestamp. I am going to go to the over in the Buffalo Sabres and Philadelphia Flyers game. That number sits at 6, about minus 118. There's some lower VIG ones. I see some minus 114s and 115s out there. You look at these two games. You know, when I reached out to someone last night to find out about the goaltending situations in Buffalo and Philadelphia, I was told that Ersin was likely going to make the start tonight instead of Dan Vladar. So I haven't seen any reports as of yet, but I think it's going to be Ersin, and he hasn't been very solid over the last while for them, and that's why I think Philly doesn't have the proper 1-2 combo as far as goaltending goes. And then you look at these two teams, Andrew, and when they've met, I think 14 straight, 3 straight overs between these teams. 5-2 earlier this season, 9.12 xG when they met in Philadelphia, a game in which the Flyers won 5-2. 9 straight meetings with 6 or more goals scored between these two, including all 3 meetings last season. Relevant info, because I'm using last season's numbers as well too. I'm going to take the over in this one. Alex Lyon should be the starter for the Buffalo Sabres tonight, and look for one of the Sabres 3 goalies to get moved shortly. It'll either be Alex Lyon or it's going to be TJ Salvatore's good buddy, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, if someone takes that fat ass contract that he has. But for tonight, it's over 6.5 minus 118.
As long as they don't trade away my buddy from Nova Scotia, which I don't think they'll trade away a young guy. So I think UPL is the guy that gets to be traded, because you can't be trading away the young players. Yeah, the thing is, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be one of the two, either Lyon or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. The thing is, with the new GM that came in, he understands. Like I think he wants to re-sign Alex Tuch for the Sabres. We're going to do a little bit of Sabre talk real quickly here, but I think he wants to re-sign Alex Tuch, show that some of the bigger name players still want to stay here and not get rid of some scoring. But Ukko hasn't been great. But you look at it, sometimes these goalies leave the Sabres organization, go elsewhere, and play extremely well. Dominic Hasek, well, he was great in a Sabres uniform, but he was even better for the Detroit Red Wings in winning the Stanley Cup and winning the Hart Trophy as well too. You look at Ullmark. Ullmark came from the Sabres organization as well too. Unless you want to correct me on that one. I think UPL gets moved, but someone is going to have to eat that cap space. It's going to have to be a team that has a lot of dead cap space that they can pick him up. And there's going to be some teams there. Maybe they can get somebody out of somewhere. When's the freeze, Andrew? The deadline freeze for Stanley Cup. Is it the 23rd? Saturday morning, I think. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, there's no games on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So next week we only have shows on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's no shows. We could always come on and just bitch and complain for 35 minutes or 40 minutes, but you guys don't want to see that. Yeah. But let's hope this. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say let's hope this pod wins. I want to keep this rush going because we're up 35% with the pod on our bankroll. And someone asked very early on, I didn't get his name, but asked very early on a question of, is your pod play still flat $200? It is. I have not changed it to the new balance. It is still a flat 200, which equates to a 4% bet each and every game. Carm, just a question here about Noah Dobson's shots on goal. I just pulled up Hall of Fame bets, which I like using for my prop research. I'm sure, Jonathan, you already looked at these numbers, but it looks like it's a really good bet because Montreal is playing Chicago. They are 28th in the league in shots on goal allowed, but Carm, they're not just 28th in the league in shots on goal allowed. They are 32nd in the league, dead last in shots on goal allowed against defensemen. So I love looking at these websites for shots on goal stuff, but also for certain positions. Maybe worth a sprinkle as well. Plus 650 as they rank 31st in the league in shots and goals given up against defensemen as well. So As far as the shots on goal number, I'll just pull this up here. You can get at least 3 shots on goal for Dobson at plus 198 at FanDuel. DraftKings has plus 170, and over 1.5 shots is minus 160. So not really a bad day. And I love looking at that stuff, like how a certain team does versus a certain position. Like Carm, who was it? Dolphins and Steelers. For some reason, the Dolphins, their passing defense was okay, but them against tight ends was horrible. So this is the kind of case for Chicago. Like, you know, they're the 14th most goals in general, right, in the league, but 31st most goals or 31st ranked against defensemen. So whatever it is, they give up goals against defensemen and shots on goal against defensemen. Just wanted to answer that for Jonathan. I will just say, guys, if I do put up anything in NHL today, it will be small. It feels like every year I either have a fantastic year or a down year. We need to find a medium. And hopefully we can get back on track and turn it around. There's a lot more time left. The good news is the NFL player props continue to go really well. It's like a 26-15 run, a 4-0 run, number 1 out of every single handicapper at WagerTalk with NFL player props. Got 1 play going tonight and 1 play only. You can get that. And anything I do release in the NHL, if I decide to release anything, will be a smaller play for tonight. My plan, Carm, is to have that reset, small plays, and then see what that big Saturday board says to me and come back and attack it and get back on track. But guys, don't miss out. 4% play, 4% best bet. NFL player prop. I know people love the side, you love the total, but don't forget about the player props. All the tickets cash the same. That's it for me, Carm.
Yep. Quick note. Don Buster, one of our regular guests, as you know him, Don Julio Buster, has a 5% play up for tonight. I wanted to mention at the beginning of the show, but I got sidetracked with Prez and that Oreo mustache beard combo that he's got going on there. Head over to WagerTalk, wt.buzz /DB Don Buster, and you can find his 5% NHL play up there. For myself, 3 plays up in the NHL tonight, and my NFL cards up for the weekend, and an NFL play up for tonight, a best bet for tonight. Normally don't take the Thursday games, but do like this play. I'm going to be on last call tonight at 7:00 before I head out to watch the game with the boys. And a monster card on Sunday, 4 plays up for me, 3 4% best bets, 1 5% NFL best bet as well, 2 or top play, plus 145 units over the last 3 years in the NFL with 4 and 5% plays. That's number 1 at WagerTalk in the NFL. We are going to keep that run going with the big weekend. So think about maybe picking up that 3-day all access where you get 1 extra day. It is a great deal that's going on right now at WagerTalk. A 3-day all access. You get a 4th day for free, and that'll cover you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll get every single play, including some college plays, and 3-0 in bowl games thus far in college football. So let's keep that rolling as well too. Guys, love the chat today. You guys are absolutely awesome. Hit that like button on your way out. For myself and Andrew and the Prez, our guest, this is Puck Time. We will see you on Friday and the return of the 6 and 60, which is going to be a lot better than last week's. Take care, guys.